Welcome back, students. In our last class, we had seen how after the arrival of Elizabeth and Ben, things geared up. Ako'y mamang da ugre. Elizabeth ka Ben ga yora matung da thodok sing matang sum thok sa le ko. Makoy sum khanarami, they were having a discussion about how the father died. Magi mapa kamay lagi da badon aduga how no doctor attended Mr. Abel at the time of his death. Malay taba matamda Mr. Abel doctor amatani yang da maram karigino akoy hana khanagre. Adu hozik akoy makaparse. Mrs. Jordan, I knew he would go sudden in the end. She said that she always knew that their father would die all of a sudden. Kangaw din na lagi roy mase sumayna kangaw din at sat kini habis ay dahana kangaw ba din hay. A pause. They wiped their eyes and sniffed back tears. Mapigat ay tuwing atang tumili ko. Then Mrs. Slater, rising briskly at length in a business-like tone, Salahogali, she rose up all of a sudden, and in a professional-like way, she said, "Well, will you go up and look at him now, or shall we have tea?" Mrs. Slater asks the rest of the party, whether they would go up and look at the father, or they would start having tea. Sa taksira lagi raba baba yang gadra hangi Elizabeth ka Ben kata ko. Mrs. Jordan asks, "What do you say, Ben?" Mrs. Jordan seeks the opinion of Ben, her husband. Ben said, "I'm not particular." Ben said that, "Okay, I'm not particular. I'm open to both the ideas. We can go up there or we can have tea as well." Mrs. Jordan surveying the table. Elizabeth na table yang hari. "Well, then if the kettle is ready, we may as well have tea first." Elizabeth Hackman, "Okay, if the kettle is ready, let's have tea first." Cha ready or cha tam tha aze. Now Mrs. Slater puts the kettle on fire and gets tea ready. Mrs. Slater, Amelia is about to serve the tea. Now Henry suggests, one thing we may as well decide now, the announcement in the papers. Henry asks the suggestion of the other parties, of the other members of the party. What should they put? How should they make an announcement in the newspapers about the death of their father-in-law? Ahalay kita pasigi announcement na covered hapataragadi kamay hapsige pauche da kamay hapsige haure. Elizabeth nas hare. I was thinking of that. Ma aiso the khalamini. What would you put? I was also thinking the same way. Now, how would you put it in the newspapers? Cover the kamay haps again. Hungry. Elizabeth says, at the residence of his daughter, 235 Upper Cornbank Street, etc. Now, Amelia makes a suggestion that, okay, if you are going to make an announcement in the newspapers, then you should suggest that our father died while he was staying in my residence, which is 235 Upper Cornbank Street, etc. She wanted to highlight the fact that she was taking care of her father. Now Henry asks, would not you care for a bit of poetry? What about just inserting a piece of poetry? Elizabeth approves of the idea. Elizabeth, she says, I like never forgotten. It's refined. Okay, let's put it this way. Never forgotten and the capsule irasi aduga akoy makada kharapsan zia. Sipazay never forgotten, never lines. I like it. It's very refined. Henry suggests, yes, but it's rather soon for that. Okay, it's fine, but ngasi later hayeng paper hapa matamda never forgotten hagadi. It's rather soon for that. Kitang di tumandro. Ben Azuhare, you could not very well have forgotten the day after. Okay, Siguma never forgotten, guys. The things like that can be put after a gap of some years. Sahi khala kan hapna badiya aduga ngasi siraga nongalaga hapada. It's rather soon for that. Kitang ni thumanni ne an hai. Mrs. Slater namo haudorego Amelia. I always fancy a loving husband, a kind father, and a faithful friend. A loving husband, a kind father, and a faithful friend. Mrs. Slater has go. Babagi maram hap target is my hapsi. He was a loving husband, he was a kind father, and a faithful friend. Ben doubtfully, Ben kitang ching narap taw nangai. Do you think that's right? Adubu chumbrane an hangai man. Ben. Do you think that wording is correct? Aduma hai do chumbrane because a loving husband, a kind father, and a faithful friend. Faithful friend do yare, a kind father do yare. A loving husband has my machanu pisinga aduga magi sons-in-laws na hap mutam. A loving husband hargadi kitang pharak matai dina aduna adubu yabrane na ben hangai. Henry di mai nipina have to support the hotel the other. I don't think it matters whether it's right or not. It's all right. I don't think it doesn't matter whether it's right or not. Adu chumbra chumdabra thoina khandra suyaida yade apone hare. Adu Elizabeth na objectory. Now it's more for the look of the thing. Just put to chana dabra ti yeng biuda. Kitang khando whether it's nice to say like that, whether it's correct to say, whether it's right to say like that. Haibista. Inconclusive already. Now the discussion is going on. And Henry says, I saw a verse in the evening news yesterday. Proper poetry it was. It rhymed. Ay ngarang evening news the paper the saying I saw a piece of poem in the evening news yesterday. It was beautiful poetry and there was rhyme in it. It rhymed. He gets the paper and reads. Ma paper lo to pai ko. Despised and forgotten by some you may be, but the spot that contains but the spot that contains you is sacred to we. Despised and forgotten by some you may be. You may be despised and you may have been forgotten by people, other people. Despised, you might have been hated by others. But the spot that contains you is sacred to we. The spot that contains the place where you lie is buried. The spot where you lie buried is sacred to we. Madi rhyme tai has say be duga we duga anido rhyme tai hari ni bako. Rhyming means ending in similar sounds. Sound mana ba ni loy butu ne ba. Elizabeth Harry. That'll never do. No, it won't do. You don't say sacred to we. Sacred to we is the haina dedna. It should be sacred to us. Henry Harry. It's in the paper. Cover the already kaino. Amelia is mind about support. You would not say it if you are speaking properly, but it's different in poetry. Hoy properly but different in poetry. It's quite different in poetry. And Henry says, poetic license, you know. The poetic license to kang draw. Poetic license is a literary term. Poetic license. Poets are free to use language in any way, breaking or ignoring grammar rules to achieve the desired poetic effect. Freedom to change facts or normal rules of language. Language ki normal rules break tarokanda pamliba poetic effect of fangna poets sing the ningtamba mapiba. They can use language in any way they like. Do you know poetic license? Poetic license has a kang dronebo. Saying the secret to we has a it's all right, it's fine. Hide wait support already. Mrs. Jordan Hariko, finally. No, they'll never do. No. It won't serve any purpose. We want a verse that says how much we loved him. And that refers to all his good qualities and says what a heavy loss we have had. Elizabeth suggests a very good point. If at all we have to make an announcement in the papers, the lines should say how much we loved, how much they loved their father. And the lines should refer to all his good qualities, and that will also say they should also say what heavy loss they have had with his death. Moigi father the winner cam nung sizabno the phongdokpa maliki the cam mangzera bagi the phongdokpa aduga magi good quality loy number refer to was heading hapsi in Elizabeth suggest away. Mrs. Letter Harry, you want a whole poem that'll cost a lot, good lot. Saying about pull up half say already by Siam thing any hand. Mrs. Odana Okay, well, we'll think about it after tea. And then we'll look through his bits of things and make a list of them. There's all the furniture in the room. Let's make a list of the items that he owned. Mana later, magi later, but pot single list same. The my kagi furniture zinga the lily brown hang. Now see the attitude of the daughters and their husbands. They do not want to spend some money to make an announcement in the papers about his death, but they are ready to distribute. They're ready to divide the things between them, among themselves. Makoy gi marakta yenana ba haidana poti ready tawriba adaga mapadu gi damakta khabar hapna na paisa ka tingbadi tingning deba. Elizabeth Elizabeth spoke of some sense, but also finally she didn't want to spend money for the father. Mapagi damakta paisa tingning driba ko. Is there all the furniture in the room? Babai kagi furniture lo le. And there's no jewelry or valuables of that sort. Atang ba poti kasulated da. Okay, furniture is all there, but he doesn't have any beautiful or expensive or costly ornaments, precious item. The late day and Harry. Elizabeth nasalo Harry go. Except his gold watch. Sanai garim dele ho buni go. He promised that to our Jimmy. Adu sanai gari to zaman akui Jimmy the pin in wasa amani. Mrs. Letter gets a little bit shocked. Kitang ikomasa. She gets surprised. She was quite taken aback. Promised to a Jimmy. No Jimmy the pin haram go. I never heard of that. Adu tahu dena. Oh, but he did Amelia. Wasa amani Amelia. When he was living with us, father said that he would give this gold watch to my son Jimmy. He was very fond of Jimmy. Ma Jimmy diamna luna tawzabane. Mrs. Letter, well amazed. I don't know. Ma khang di idea. But anyhow, there's his insurance money. Okay, anyhow, there is his insurance money. Have you got the receipt for the premium he paid this morning? Masayma insurance ki pisapi was that can haida na tiba. Have you received the receipt of the money he paid this morning? Ngasi yung piki bigi receipt to the labor. Mrs. Letter says, I haven't seen it. Ujrina dudi. Then Victoria jumps from the sofa and comes behind the table. Victoria all of a sudden joins the conversation. Victoria na sala no worried. Mother, I don't think Grandpa went to pay insurance this morning. She doesn't think that, Victoria doesn't think that the old man went to pay his insurance that morning. But Amelia says, he went out. Your grandfather went out. Victoria, yes, but he didn't go to the town. Machat pudi chat ki bako ma adumanga sidis town chat ki deba. He went all Mr. Tattersall down the street and they went up past St. Philip Church. Magi mama na ba Mr. Tattersall unra St. Philip Church pa chat ki bane. Amelia concludes, to the ring of bells I'll be born. Oh, I'm certain that after that they must have gone to the ring of bells. The chatla mani dudi. Ring of Bells is the name of a restaurant. Ben asks, oh, the ring of bells, what is this ring of bells? Kainu ring of bells I born. Mrs. Letter mana hairiko. That public house that John Sorok's widow keeps is always hanging about there. Oh, if he hasn't paid it. Public house is the above a place that's licensed to sell alcoholic beverages. Mayam you takpam you yon pam nebo. John Sorok na ahal malaki dabado magi nupi magi widow aduna lukrabi duna pamliba kogi yuyon pamdune ring of bells adu de chatla mani ko father don. Ben, do you think he hasn't paid it? Do you think that the old man had not paid it? Pesa pira maroi na kanmra. Was it overdue? Ha nagi ga sulezala. I still think it was overdue. Yes, it was due. Mrs. Letter says. Then Elizabeth concludes, something tells me he hasn't paid it. I know something is telling me that he has not paid it. I have a warning. I have an intuitive idea. I know it. He hasn't paid it. Ma pisapira maroy. Pisapira maroy is the drunken old beggar. Now, they all think that the old man had not paid the insurance premium and that they get angry. Now, Ben calls him a drunken old beggar. Now, Elizabeth says, he has done it on purpose, just to annoy us. He has done it deliberately. just to make us irritated. And Mrs. Slater says, after all I have done for him, having to put up with him in the house for this year, 3 years. I have suffered a lot. I've been taking care of him in the house for 3 years. And he has done it. It's nothing sort of swindling. It's a kind of cheating. Mrs. Slater na habidi Amelia na when she mentioned 3 years, chahi humagad leminar pani habidi Elizabeth interrupts. Elizabeth na martalay I had to put up with him for 5 years. Be ma kwe di maga chahi mangani ko leminay doon. Then Amelia says, and you were trying to turn him over to us all the time. Nang jo sahi mga lemin na ban habito akoy dadam tham na bato na lebani. You are always trying to hand him over to us. All those 5 years. Sahi mga do nang babado ko tham na bato na lebani. Henry na. But now he wants them to stop the quarreling, the arguments. So he says, but we don't know for certain that he hasn't paid the premium. Elizabeth, I do. It has come to me all at once. He hasn't. It has come to my mind all at once. I have understood it. I know it. He hasn't paid it. Victoria, run upstairs and fetch that bunch of keys that's on your grandpa's dressing table. Victoria matakakalo ng grandpagi dressing table leba so mapul don por take down the bunch of keys that is in your grandpa's dressing table. Victoria timidly and kizana ko in a manner that shows lack of courage or confidence and kizana hare in grandpa's room. Mama kayo no ibubuka sa lohayro ay bon. Yes, I don't like to. Ay chatning di mama. Don't talk so silly. There's no one can hurt you. No, don't be so stupid, Victoria. Go there. Nobody can hurt you. Victoria goes out reluctantly. Mrs. Slater na makatare. We'll see if he has locked the receipt up in the bureau. Receipt to mana bureau is the tanambra. Ako yung check daw sinin. Now, bureau do na mo'y kadalay ba? Receipt to na mabugi kadalay ba? Hay ba dida? Benzina idea malay ko. In where? Kaday ba? In this thing. Sidida. He rises and examines it. Mahugali yan ko bureau daw. Elizabeth also rising at the same time. Where did you pick up that, Amelia? Amelia, from where this bureau come? It's new since last I was here. And they start examining it very closely. How's Victoria ga ako gi mama ga hainagre matata kaurchon angang matata chatkre. Victoria was sent upstairs to fetch the bunch of keys. Now Amelia na how's magi mapagi was receipt to bureau the lock trogat number yengsi harak pas the Elizabeth and the Ben doubt they suspect some kind of foul play. Aran baka tawram madran chingni. So they start examining the bureau very closely. Music bureau muniyang horeb. Hange, where did you pick up that, Amelia? Amelia, nang sikay di purak pano. It's new since last I was here. Ay nang hamlak padali hawde na. So, moina kupniyang horey ko. All of a sudden, Mrs. Slater replies, oh, Henry picked it up one day. Henry da nahanung layrak panine. Mrs. Jordan, I like it. It's artistic. Did you buy it at an auction? Elizabeth Hariboko. This is very beautiful. It's artistic. And where did you buy it, Henry? Did you buy it from an auction? Auction de lirak pro. Nilam lagom de lirak pro. Henry got a little bit confused. Henry confused because actually he didn't buy the bureau. Malirek ta bani na confused mahang where did I buy it, Amelia? Amelia in lirak pudu bukai de no ne. Mrs. Slater says, just to help Henry, yes, at an auction. Yeah, Henry, you bought it from an auction. You bought it from an auction. Auction the lyric na. Ben disparagingly. Oh, second hand. Disparagingly means criticizing someone in a way that shows you do not respect or value them. Posak tu bunata kanagu mabu mamanlait na kanba moong da sida bay moong da hayri. Oh, this is second hand. Oh, this bureau is second hand. And Mrs. Jordan says, don't show your ignorance, Ben. All artistic things are second hand. Mrs. Jordan, Elizabeth Harry, no, Ben, don't show your ignorance. Don't be that stupid, Ben. Ben, all artistic things are second hand. All these beautiful things, all these artistic things are second hand in the sense that they have been transferred from one generation to another. One great master did something great, and that beautiful object has been transferred to another generation. So all artistic things are second hand. Look at those old masters. Look at the work of the great masters. By the time Victoria returns, she is very scared. She closes the door after her. She calls, "Mother, mother." Mama na pakon thagi ba Victoria do halei yam kizei thonglon salami. Mana kaure ima ima. Mrs. Slater asks, "What is it, child?" Be makador again. Victoria komai, "Grandpa's getting up." "What?" Ben says. Mrs. Slater also says, "What do you say?" Victoria says, "The grandpa's getting up." Mrs. Jordan says, "The child is crazy." Because they didn't believe what the girl was talking about. They thought that the grandfather, the old man, was lying dead. Then Mama na bahizale, "Don't talk so silly. Don't say such stupid words." Victoria. Victoria, don't say such things. Don't you know that your grandpa is dead? But Victoria says, No, he's getting up. I saw him. They are transfixed with amazement. They are quite shocked with amazement. Ben and Mrs. Jordan, left of table. Victoria clings to Mrs. Slater, right of table, and Henry near fireplace. Ben ga Mrs. Jordan ga table gi oirom da left lom da Victoria na mamai mak sangjali aduga mama sina mok akoi table gi right thang ba side ta lei Henry na chakhun gi mei manak ta lei. Mrs. Jordan na haire Elizabeth na, "You would better go up and see for Amelia, for yourself, Amelia. Amelia, please go up and see what's going on there." Amelia, Mrs. Slater says, "Here, come with me, Henry." Mrs. Slater, Amelia asked Henry to go with her to see what was happening there. But Henry draws back terrified. Henry is a little bit terrified. Henry kitang kizerega. Adumana matung hanto chali tung hantoga. Tanzas the Ben suddenly, "Hist, listen." Ben harego ay tao ngai koko. By the time they look at the door, a slight chuckling is heard outside. The door opens, revealing an old man clad in a faded but gay dressing gown. The old man comes out. He is wearing a faded but gay dressing gown. He is in his stockinged feet. He has stockings, he has socks on his feet. Although over 70, he is vigorous and is well colored. He is an old man of 70. He is over 70. But still, he is vigorous. He is very strong, energetic, and well colored. He is well colored. His bright, malicious eyes twinkle under his heavy, reddish gray eyebrows. His bright, malicious eyes, magi irang lang laba, katukaran taubuman mamamito, is very lively, is very mischievous, hanjab nungai ba hanni, karanyam taba hanni, adunani magi, his bright, malicious eyes has a twinkle under his heavy, reddish gray eyebrows. He is obviously either Grandfather Abel Merriweather or else his ghost. So when all the family members look towards the door, they see the old man. The old man is wearing a gay but faded dressing gown. He is on his stockinged feet. He is in his stockinged feet. He is very vigorous. He is strong. He is well colored. He has reddish gray eyebrows. And they think, something is very sure, that he must be either Mr. Abel Merriweather or else his ghost. Tholei when Paze, Mr. Abel Meriwether or Bay, Natragana, Maggie Ghost or Bay. Abel asks, what's the matter with little Vicky? Victoria, what's your problem? Because when the girl saw the old man, the grandfather getting up, she went out scared. What is the matter with you, Victoria? Vicky is Victoria. He sees Ben and Mrs. Jordan. All of a sudden, he sees Ben and Elizabeth, his daughter and his son-in-law, who have not visited his house for nearly 3 years. Hello, what brings you here? How is yourself, Ben? Hello, come to Ben. Abel trusts his hand at Ben, who skips back smartly and retreats to a safe distance below the sofa. Handshake to dogi makubo na makuting thorego. Handshake to Zen. Atugadi mamang ni padadi, he skips back smartly, chong thokre mazigo, and retreats to a safe distance below the sofa. Chong tuaga maka, the sofa maka, pak thagre mas. Karigino di amang ni pas and the kangdriba, tole no pas makubo ni has a kangdeba, madi boot or a ghost or a kalineba. Other ghost and handshake to Zaita di pakataba. See really when the partner how will handshake to Zaka and the amang ni padu thokre, sofa maka, the pak thagre. Tanjasida, Mrs. Slater approaching Abel gingerly. Abel came out jam checks in a chungy, aduga carefully chungy, aduga, hi grandfather, is that you? Babanang chumiko and haiko. She pokes him with her hand, she just pokes him with her hand, makuna kit number yangi to see if he is solid. Solid learning yang duiko. Gingerly means in a careful or cautious manner. Very carefully changzali, mapagi manakta, aduga, mapada makuna kit number yangi. To see if he is solid, because a ghost is not a solid body. Ghost is solid oide bako. Makuna number yangi. Now, Abel, the grandfather, is irritated by the whispering. Of course, it's me. Don't do that, Amelia. No, it's me. I'm your father. What do you mean by this tomfoolery? What the devil do you mean by this tomfoolery? Tomfoolery means foolish behavior. No. Amelia, what are you doing? What do you mean by that? Mrs. Slater to the others, she says to the others, he's not dead. Oh, our father is not dead. And the Ben also replies, doesn't seem like it. Okay, it seems that he's not dead. You have kept away long enough, Lizzie. Lizzie means Elizabeth. Elizabeth, and now you have come. You don't seem overpleased to see me. Elizabeth nang ipay naktaw laktaw am koide. How's laga na nang ipaw with the haraw da malina. Elizabeth, why are you not happy? Why are you not happy to see me? Why don't you feel glad to see me? Kay no koide laga ipaw with the haraw da mali kay dore nang board. Mrs. Zodan Kumay, you took us by surprise, Father. Oh, Father, you have surprised us. Baba na kwesiloing hale. Are you keeping quite well? Baba boksang nungari bro. Abel trying to catch his words. Hey, what do you mean by that? What did you say? Mrs. Jotan, are you quite well, Father? Bro. Abel, hey, I'm right enough, but for a bit of headache. No, I have no problem. I have a little bit of headache. I would not mind betting that I am not the first in this house to be carried to the cemetery. That I am not the first one to be carried to the cemetery. Cemetery means the burial ground. Mongpamda, I go Pumgada graveyard to Pugadabaza, a Quaymunda, a hand miss Ainate. I don't think that I am the first one to be carried to the cemetery. I always think Henry there looks none too healthy. I think our Henry is not so healthy, so I think he will die earlier than me. Mrs. Jordan, well, I never. She wanted to say something, but she was disturbed. She was interrupted. Abel crosses to the armchair. Abel armchair the chali. Henry gets out of his way to the front of the table. Henry Talambado, Makatangandoi. Abel Nange. Amelia, what the dickens did I do with my new slippers? Amelia, what the devil I do with my new slippers? Amelia, I slipper hanbadubu, sapal hanbadubu, ude the kai sakazano ne pagi be mana hangeko. Mana chapel tongue and take with the tea with the punk. Deacons has it's an informal way of saying that you are annoyed or surprised. Nang kitang sounding ikoning habi mo to nebo ko. Amelia, what the deacons? Amelia, what did I do with my new slippers? What has happened to my new slippers? I cannot find them. And hang po dun ko ng sang. Mrs. Slater na kumay, are not they by the hurt grandfather? Baba, sa kum layang manakta lay tro na kumay. Abel na, I don't see them. And by the time he observes Henry trying to remove the slippers, Henry na magi slipper, matong mo dalo to na ho na bud uray. Abel na why? You got them on Henry? Henry na adu tong sili di kari kya. Now Henry is a little bit embarrassed. Ikai zare ko Henry za. My nupis na palo na promptly salo hai ko. I told him to put them on to stretch them. Baba ay na maril lang na ban tong salon hai kiba. They were that new and hard. Han mani nam kalli na baba. Now Henry, how's it Prose harga? Mrs. Slater snatches the sleepers from Henry. Henry takes slipper the molly and gives them to Abel. Gives them to Abel the P, who puts them on Abel na tong sali and sits in the armchair. Ma armchair the famikong. Okay. Hanggang sa ako na husik yam interesting developments kara ura Abel Meriwether Syrian lay robot na hawgala atagi di man hawgalak matam da makoy miyam do lay mami miyam do they were caught in a very odd situation am satin odd taba situation na makoy thengnare tum hawgalak pada kanam ta na mabu uda welcome tawdre handshake tawge na mamani pa hayo kana mamani pa pakthara sofa maka changre amana ma khom tigang de sandal tigang de taraga mamani pa man tongzale reme sumai tawduna ontok na natay sa da fiwang mada makoy miyam zilay ko ngasi di akoy si baba torasi aduga akoy next class tam tengnar se. Okay, I think you enjoyed the lesson. See you next time. Bye bye.